Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing fantastic. Let's continue our journey into the mind of a radical feminist. This book is by Laurie Penny. It's about the sexual revolution. It is as far radical feministic as you can get, from my understanding. Don't think I've read a book as feministic as this. Let's begin, okay? Lastly, and most importantly, the tyrants and bullies won't win, at least not for long. They can't win because they are incapable of offering any meaningful vision of the future. Okay, so here, she thinks the patriarchy won't win because, now she's calling straight white men the bullies here, by the way. Okay. So she contends that they don't offer any real vision of the future. I would say Islam offers the vision of the future, where modesty and indecency will make a comeback, and where degeneracy, public hedonism, brothel culture, and more vices will be at bay. There are better visions for the future than the abortion mill cuckoldry that she wants. They want to rule, not lead. Well, rulership is leading. They want control, not responsibility. With control comes responsibility, though. They have no interest in sustaining and maintaining human life. Yes, they do. You're the abortion lover, woman. And you hate the patriarchy, which literally helps women to be safe. There is no sisterhood. I've never seen it. In fact, if you ever noticed reality TV shows, you get a bunch of women together, they start tearing at each other's throats. And they have no plan. Well, the Sharia is a plan, isn't it? Men like Putin, Bolsonaro, Trump, and Johnson built political followings that baffled their critics in the political mainstream, who rushed to point out that these men were feckless wastrels who lied as easily as breathing and had spent their lives failing upwards and dodging responsibility. Okay. Take it easy. She's got Trump derangement syndrome. Okay, now. Bolsonaro's of Brazil, Putin's of Russia, Johnson, I believe she's referring to Boris Johnson of the UK, and Trump. Well, Putin was in the KGB, right? Wasn't he? The guy is an Orthodox Christian, I think. Bolsonaro, he allowed his people to choose if they wanted to take the jab. Boris Johnson, don't know much about the dude besides his hair. And with Trump, well, he was for a while a New York Democrat. He was in rap songs. I mean, he was liked until he started being a bit sassy on the campaign trail. But let's not go into Trumpy. These men were obviously embarrassingly unfit to run so much as a bath, let alone a country. I mean, look at Biden. Okay, and I wonder who she's going to endorse. She probably won't say. This, of course, was precisely their appeal. No, that wasn't their appeal, that they were not fit to run a country. That's just not being charitable. These were men who got away with it, men who laughed in the face of consequences, men who weaponized their own vacuous charisma, Gordon Geckos of the attention economy, who wanted only power and had not thought for a moment about what they might do with it. Vacuous charisma? I don't think Putin has charisma. Putin has command of the room. He's very serious. Yeah. I'd say Trump definitely has charisma in terms of being a comedian, right? That's what I'd say about him. Bolsonaro, whenever I've seen his posts, he just seems like your average Joe. Boris, it's nothing in particularly. He seems just pretty mainstream. I don't see him making jokes or whatnot. With his prime minister's questions, he just seems pretty average UK dude. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. If patriarchy is the rule Well, fathers, our current rulers are feckless fathers, deadbeat dads who have proven themselves dangerously inadequate to the duties of the power they caused such chaos to secure. Well, I think if you went around the world and looked at what females were doing, you'd see that they're not doing as good either. Who was that one lady who was like prime minister for like a week and she cowardly stepped down? I mean, she couldn't even handle a week in the seat. There's, what's that one lady's name? There was Theresa May, but then there was somebody else. Oh, some old lady, I forgot. I can't believe I just forgot. She was prime minister before Theresa May. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Man, can't remember. Patriarchy, capitalism, heterosexism, and white supremacy are not too big to fail. Okay. It's just funny the way these liberals think, man. They put that box together. Like, they just hate masculine men with money who are straight and happen to be pale. It's really bizarre watching, like, the weirdest form of racism that just combines all these factors. How can you hate being straight? Why hate men who don't crave a man's booty hole? I don't get it. Why hate them because they don't want poop on their area? Why? We need heterosexual men. So many women want to be married to heterosexual men. So are we enemies now? You have to remember, this feminist is attacking heterosexual men. I wonder if you took a poll, an honest one of every single person in the world, and asked of a woman, that is, a real woman, not a man in a dress, a real woman, and asked them, do you want to date a do you want to be married to and have children with a bisexual male or a gay man? And watch how many of the women will say no. Right? It's interesting how women are not defending straight men who we literally want. I'll defend straight men because I want my daughters to be married to straight men. I want my man to be straight. He is straight, right? I want him to stay that way, right? God forbid he play for the other team. No, right? I've never even met a woman who would be okay with that. In fact, there was one porn star, I'm not going to say her name, but she did not want to do a scene with a bisexual star. She got bullied for it and committed suicide. Her videos are still on the internet. And what's sad about that is the feminists were calling her a bigot. They were calling her all kinds of names. Right? Because she chose who she wanted to work with in that manner. But she wasn't progressive enough, and the bullying went so far, she couldn't handle it. It's quite sad. So there's even degenerate porn stars who don't even want to do videos with those types of men. So is everyone who likes heterosexual men the enemy to these people? So why is their flag being flown in the schools if it means that the one sexuality they hate is, not to be promoted? I've seen a meme that says that has the Family Guy Peter Griffin character in the electric chair, and it says being executed in 2035 for being straight, which seems kind of scary. But when you read things like this, you can see the propaganda. So they're literally saying that if you're a capitalist, you're evil. If you believe in the patriarchy, you're evil. If you're straight, you're evil. And if you're white, you're evil. If you like being white, you're evil. I mean, that's pretty intense. And a lot of people don't realize that. So it's important that we discuss that. Or not too big to fail. In fact, they do nothing but fail, and have done nothing but fell upwards for generations. The question is not whether white capitalist patriarchy will collapse. The question is how many people it will crush on the way down. White capitalist patriarchy. If you said black socialist patriarchy, would she support it then? It's quite sick how they really want to just attack someone's skin color when it's something they cannot control, something they are born with. It is the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them. What a scary time where books like this can be sold and call for basically the exilement, the harassment, and the hate of literally millions of people and millions of children who are white. This book picks out the patterns in the contemporary wreckage of sex and power, seeking a map to a more life-sustaining world. That's funny. That's rich. A map to a more life-sustaining world. If you are gay, you don't reproduce. You have to... Their babies don't come from buttholes. Babies come from women, females. They come from a man and a woman coming together. And abortion ends life. She's saying that her revolution is going to have these sort of power structures of abortion mills on every corner, easy access, paid for probably by the government she wants. And fathers sustain the nuclear family, but she did say that she's here to undermine the authority of the institutions from the wage workplace to the nuclear family. Okay? And then she said, remember on that last section we did in the other video, the sexual revolution is by its very nature a threat to heterosexuality. So she wants people to be more perverted, to be part of that deviancy, right? So in Islam we have what we're supposed to do when it comes to sexuality, and we are supposed to stay within that framework. She wants to undermine that. There's so much you could say, but we're not allowed to say it, which is going to create more tension, because eventually people are going to start snapping and saying it's okay to be straight. It's not evil to crave a woman and only want her and to be that way. It's not evil. In fact, it's blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's not condemned as long as it's within the confines of marriage. So don't look upon yourself as wretched. Patriarchy helps sustain the world and protect women by letting us be comfortable in our feminine nature. And it allows women to have safe places to give their babies a good life so that they don't seek abortion. It allows women to not get STDs as much because they stay within the confines of their marriage. And Islam, which has polygamy, allows men to exercise some of their mercy in giving women a safe haven so that they don't have to sell their bodies in order to survive. They can get married. It starts in the tender, vicious underbelly of political economy. It starts with sex. It's all these people can think about. It's really just so gross. So not only does she hate old white men, not only does she hate heterosexuals, not only does she hate white people, her brain can't stop thinking about this animalistic primal function of the mind and of the body. The way they talk about it is in this sort of deviant, perverted, orgy, nasty way, when it should be something beautiful between a man and a woman to foster and facilitate bringing souls into this realm. right? Islam talks about a man and a wife and a family in a so much more beautiful way. It's just these women, man. They're just so gross. It's just like, bah, I bet you. I better be just. I'm gonna say something rude and get myself in trouble. She continues with her insanity. Sexual freedom doesn't exist, not yet, in most democracies. Most of us are legally free to love who we want, live how we like, and pursue pleasure however we choose, but only in the same way that most of us are free to buy a Maserati, or a mansion, or an election. In practice, most people cannot afford sexual freedom. Most women and most LGBT blah 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 people of all genders, there's only two, cannot afford sexual liberation because the social costs of simply naming their desires are still so high. So, look at this. So, she just admitted. So, what does she define freedom as? She literally says, most of us are legally free to love who we want. Okay, so that's, you're legally free to love whatever you want. Live how we like to and pursue pleasure however we choose. Yes, you're free to be a hedonist, pervert. Okay? Now, but she's saying, oh, but you're not free to buy a Maserati. If you got the money, you got the money. Not everyone can be rich. Not everyone deserves a Maserati. Comes with responsibility. And a mansion, there's a lot of upkeep. You're gonna buy a mansion, you're gonna be in debt for a bank for a long time, buddy. The landscaping costs, the plumbing, the heating, it's a responsibility. Or an election. Yeah, some people can buy elections. Happens all the time. When she says most people cannot afford sexual freedom, not everyone should indulge themselves in the lust demon fantasies. Becoming a nasty, skirt-chasing pervert, or a woman with a 700 body count, is not a goal of most sane people. You're free to be as bed-jumping as you want. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter how much you try to brainwash men. They're not going to want to stay loyal to a woman who has shared her body with 500 dudes, with 100 dudes. Because it shows she's incapable of having a serious commitment. And a lot of men don't think it's great for a woman to be pregnant by another guy and then they sleep with her. It doesn't feel right in the soul. The poor baby, living inside of a mother who's going to let her body be used by 20, 30 dudes while she's pregnant. It's not something noble, honorable, virtuous, sanitary. It's not good at all. High-risk sexual behavior is not good at all. Okay? So the social cost should stay there so that people can do better. As Muslims, we know that you will be punished for those sins if you don't repent. You have to rise above that. You have to fear fornication and fear adultery. It ruins households. It causes lifelong pain. Jealousy is a natural female and male emotion. To make that go away is near impossible. If you don't feel jealous over somebody, you don't really love them too much. You can have a slight jealousy that's healthy and moderate, right? But if you don't feel anything while you watch your partner go off with someone else, you're not attached to them. You won't mourn their death. You just are floating in a mindless existence. It's just disgusting. It's just sick. I wonder how many people this woman has had. This is what liberal universities are trying to get your daughter to believe is great. Imagine being married to someone who writes like this. Imagine being married to somebody who just hates white people, hates patriarchy, hates capitalism, hates heterosexual men, can't stop talking about sex. It's just sick. This is the mind of these people. Bizarre. well, let me know what you think. If you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. Hope to see you there. And wash your brain from this stuff.